What's a bad day to be a narco dictator or a corrupt governor? This morning, Nicolas Maduro told a federal court that he's not guilty. And Tim Walz dropped his re-election bid for governor of Minnesota. Now, innocent men don't tell the United States, come and get me. And innocent men don't drop an election campaign in the middle of a fraud scandal. We've got a good episode today. I hope you're ready. Well, guys, thanks for watching. And if you watched it this far already, I guess I'm on to something. But like I said, Nicolas Maduro pled not guilty in a federal courtroom this morning in New York City on all accounts. He said, I'm not guilty. I'm an innocent man. I'm a prisoner of war, and I'm still the president of Venezuela. Now, it's pretty amazing watching him getting transported to the courtroom, and I'm getting ready to play you some of those clips. He went from armored vehicle to helicopter back to armored vehicle. The security around the man is top-notch, but it's necessary. We want to see him alive and to stand trial. So here's those videos.
Thousands of tons of cocaine. The indictment also accuses Maduro and his wife of ordering beatings, kidnappings, murders against those who owed him drug money or undermined their drug trafficking organization in any way.
They have an airtight case on this guy. I'm not saying there's not going to be moments that things are going to be tossed out and they might be lengthy, and it's going to be costly. But they got him dead to rights through 3 administrations. And you know, that's why the bounty was on his head. And most people
run wild. It's important to note that the U.S. isn't trying to leave a vacuum. It's really planning this transition, right? Step 1 was removing Maduro. That's the first step of this. You know, President Trump stated that the U.S. is going to work to help run Venezuela until there's a safe, proper, judicious transition that can occur. This is about stability. It's not about occupation.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it? The effort that the U.S. military went through to get the man back to U.S. to face justice was pretty incredible, and it was a feat that only the U.S. military could pull off. So we want the man alive to stand trial. We don't want him to end up like Epstein and, you know, Hillary Clinton taking care of him. We want to hear everything that he's got to say, and we want to give him a fair trial the American way. Now, he's facing life in prison, which he'll probably end up getting. He pled not guilty on all counts, but the FBI director, Kash Patel, was on Fox earlier this morning and explained a little bit about the security detail around Nicolas Maduro and said that the FBI's operators, or special operations, was leading Nicolas Maduro's security detail as he transits from the jail cell to the courtroom. Let's watch.
Hostage rescue team operators are a specialized tactical unit. They embedded with the insertion force along with the force at sea to extract and execute this daring raid and capture operation, a law enforcement operation quarterbacked by at home with our Department of Justice partners. And then we at the FBI are in charge of what we call an FTOC, a foreign transfer of custody, in order to maintain law enforcement custody of the individual from the ground raid seizure through the maritime transportation and aviation transportation. FBI hostage rescue team agents and medics and specialized aviation units are running that portion of the operation with our law enforcement partners and our intelligence community partners and our DOW partners. So this is what it looks like when you have a great leadership at the White House under President Trump. This is what it looks like when you have decisive action to take out and eliminate and arrest and bring to justice individuals who are pouring narcotics into the streets of America and causing deaths to tens of thousands of Americans.
So, now on to Tampon Tim. Oh, I love talking about old Tampon Tim. They're calling him Traitor Tim now, and I think Traitor Tim's more fitting, given the 19 or so billion dollars in fraud that's taking place under his watch in Minnesota. But Tim Walz said this morning that he's not seeking re-election for governor of Minnesota. And it just begs the question, how much did the man really know? I mean, innocent men don't step down an election in the middle of an election year, in the middle of a fraud scandal, because they're innocent. But I'm just telling you guys, the man knew about it. He passed legislation and he signed it. He knew what was going to happen. And if he didn't know, let's just say he was completely ignorant. I mean, the man is ignorant. I might be giving him too much credit saying he was intelligent enough to pull all of this off. But let's just say he was so ignorant and didn't realize what was going to happen when he, signed all these bills into law, right? So once you start getting word of it, because this has been going on for several years, the fraud in Minnesota is not new. Now, it's new to the news now because of Nick Shirley and several other independent journalists, but it's not new. Okay? So let's say a couple years ago, for 2018, for instance, when some of this stuff started coming up to light, Tim Walz was still governor. And when this stuff started coming up, he should have done something about it, nipped it in the bud, taken care of it, cut the funding off, abolished the programs, locked people up, and said, you know what, we're scrapping this. This is no good. But he continued to allow it happen because those people that were racking in tax dollars were donating to his campaigns, were financing all of his stuff that he wanted to do, and that's why he left. It must be the reason why he kept doing it. He was lining his own pockets, or the people around him were lining their own pockets. It's the only justifiable reason for just blatant negligence. And that's what it is. Hopefully there's federal law or there's some kind of stipulation that they can get him indicted on. We need a grand jury to indict Timothy Walz. The man has set an example for these other governors like Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker. And J.B. Pritzker is another guy that they need to look into. The amount of fraud in Minnesota is nothing like the fraud that's in California probably, and Illinois is no better, I guarantee it. Brandon Johnson in Chicago is pushing all these government-funded programs, and it's probably the same thing. But, you know, we need some accountability and we need some arrests, or these people are going to keep doing this, or they're going to keep defrauding the U.S. taxpayer unless something's done about it. So let's watch a little bit of that Tim Walz press conference where he announced he's not seeking re-election.
Extraordinarily difficult year for our state, and it ended on a particularly sour note. For the last several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of this state's generosity. And even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see an organized group of political actors seeking to take advantage of a crisis. I don't want to mince words here. Donald Trump and his allies in Washington and in St. Paul and online want to make our state a colder, meaner place. They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in the country to raise a family. They've already begun trying to withhold funds that were meant to help families afford child care. We've put new locks on the doors of our remaining programs. And we've hired a new head of program integrity to make sure that those locks can't be broken. All across this state, Minnesotans are hard at work on this problem. Advocates, administrators, investigators are on the front lines defending the integrity of our state's programs. And I want to give a very heartfelt thank you to all of them. There is more to do. A single taxpayer dollar wasted on fraud should be intolerable. And while there's a role to play for everyone, from the legislature to prosecutors to insurance companies to local and county government, the buck does stop with me. We've got Republicans here in the state legislature playing hide and seek with potential whistleblowers. We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children. We've got the President of the United States demonizing our Somali neighbors and wrongfully confiscating funds that Minnesotans rely on. It's disgusting and it's dangerous.
You know what's disgusting and dangerous, Traitor Tim? It's the amount of fraud that you've let happen under your watch in your state. We're talking tens of billions of dollars of fraud. And it's not racist or bigoted to call a spade, and that's what we're doing. I mean, over 80% of the people that have been locked up year to date due to fraud in Minnesota have been Somalians. So when we say Somalians are committing fraud in Minnesota, it's the truth. And that's what Democrats just can't get their little pea brains to wrap around. The truth. They'd much rather get up in front of the camera like Tim Walz did, spew a bunch of lies, throw some shade somewhere at President Trump, and call it a day. And ignite that anger that the left has, that the left always seems to have. They're always angry about something. But they get up there and they spew nonsense. It pisses people off on the left, and then we've solved nothing. They've accomplished nothing. And that's what they want people to do. They rather have dumb people than educated people following them and listening to them. Because dumb people don't understand fraud or don't understand how to commit fraud. So that allows Tim Walz, or Traitor Tim, and his cronies just to continue to commit fraud. Now, we're educated now, Traitor Tim. Nick Shirley's cracked the case. You stepped down from your election in Minnesota, and Minnesotans got a year left of you. And then hopefully we can get someone with more common sense and intelligence to run Minnesota. With every day, it seems like there's some kind of new development or new twist. So I appreciate you guys for liking, subscribe, share this. And if you've made it this far, I'm definitely on to something. Have a good one.